so rough. So I think come the road races they'll have, and also today, I think the technical gain you can get out of having a hard pressure in your tyres versus a lower pressure for that climb that's so significant. It's only a couple of kilometres, but it's so significant. So it's you know, you've got this. So it's an interesting course when you've got a dead smooth road and you've got a cobbled climb.
Yeah, you've ridden a lot of races with cobbles. Can you compare the surface of these cobbles to any race you've ridden in the past?
Yeah, look, there is more difficult cobbles to ride, and when I say that, bigger with bigger spaces between them and rougher and harder in the places like Belgium. However, this climb is so hard because of its gradients and the way it goes up and it goes up again, and you can't see the top, and then when you get around a corner. So this particular cobbled climb is very, very hard. Okay.
So we may see some teams struggle up here. The road races are going to be interesting. For sure, that's going to be one of the key points of every single lap on these road races, which are coming up from tomorrow. Don't forget, we move into the road races, and then we have 4 days of road racing coming up ahead. It's going to be a lot of days of watching the pelotons, deciding who the world champions are. These three riders seem to have got themselves into a nice rhythm now, and the weakest rider was number 143, Tosavi, but now he looks like he's got himself going a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, they waited for him, and there had to be a reason for that, you know, that we can really use him, and he seems to be doing really well and pulling some good hard turns and still there with them. So whether he'll get up that last climb, because it was on that significant gradient of the climb where he just lost touch, but yeah, he does really look like he's riding into it.
The Rwandan team are ready for racing. All smiles as always. I think that's one of the characteristics of the Rwandan people, is how they greet you all the time with that big smile. Ethiopia, Tekle Alameo, Garamadine Halamariam and Bizay Rude. These riders are about to get going. One of them is a member of this Amani setup. So the race start then of our three riders from Ethiopia. And they'll hand over to their teammates later on. Looks like they've settled down nicely into that first few pedal revs to get themselves going. That Omani club, I don't know if you know it, Rochelle, but very interesting their setup. So they've set up this big organisation, Team Omani. They've got some great partners like Rafa, Wahoo and others. And they're opening a headquarters kind of altitude with a sports performance centre as well. And their aim is to kind of take the learnings of endurance sport, so running and everything, that Africans are very well known for being really good at, and trying to find an African rider who can take all those principles of what they've learned from endurance sport and become one of the best bike riders in the world. I think it's a really clever approach.
Very, very, very smart, because obviously the genetic makeup of these athletes, there's so many, I think, Africans that have the ability to be on the world stage, world champion, and just need that opportunity that Omani are giving to them. And they're not doing it, you know, with half an effort. They're doing it with a full effort. So it might take 5 years to 10 years, and we'll see some dominance in Europe or around the world of African cyclists.
It's going to be good to see how that progression goes. We've already got, of course, some world-level African riders, Beniam Gamai, Daniel Tekelemenot and others. We saw the Ethiopian woman yesterday who did so well in the time trial. So we'll see how these riders progress over the period of time. Rwanda's about to get started. The Chinese team is about to go. Li Yu, Li Zhangkun and Su Haiyu. That's going to be the Chinese team, the three men who will make their way off the race start. Then we'll have, that will be the last of our block of teams before we move for a little while until those teams finish. And then we get onto our World Cycling Centre. Will start block number 2 of the race. Well, this rider, his legs are giving out. Tosavi, he's trying to hang on. was talking to the team around Benin earlier on today, who are trying to help out with all of their logistics. Jeremy Ford is their director at the moment, looking after the team. And knowing how much, to just give you an idea, and you'll know this, Rochelle, already, that the amount of work that the helpers around these teams have to give is quite incredible. They're working 20-hour days, just trying to get things organised and as well organised and well drilled as they can for these riders.
You know, what I found very notable, Anthony, was the interview after the women's individual time trial gold medalist by the Swiss rider Marlene Reusser. She really took a lot of time of her interview to thank her team around her, and it may be boring for viewers and spectators, but the fact is that you're only as strong as the team around you. So just one rider at this World Championships, they need to have a masseur and a mechanic and a manager and a doctor and a technical person to go out and, you know, look at the course and update on all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and that doesn't just happen for the week here, it happens for the year preparation.
Yes.
So I mean, sport, you're never going to make the top without a team, so it's not just the one individual that's winning that gold medal or pulling on that rainbow jersey or standing on top of the podium. It's, you know, you're only as strong as the team around you.
Our next team is going, the team of Rwanda. They get started. Massive reception for Rwanda. Patrick Bayakasenga, Eric Enkudabera and Mika Uweduai. They're underway now. And the drummers are still going and have been going since Sunday.
They have been.
It's pretty amazing the way they've been going all this time. We were talking a moment about the Benin team as we see Rwanda getting going, and I was lucky enough this morning also to meet a very well-known artist from Benin as we just see them getting their one rider dropped. It was lovely to meet him. Romuald Hazume, who's one of the most famous artists to come out of that country, and he is well known for La Poche de Roi, which is a reworking of the slave ship Brooks. He's well known for that particular art, and he uses recycled materials to make all his art, and he's exhibited all over the world. I won't tell you, but he was just an interesting person to meet, and he's there and he's mad about cycling. He's one of the best known artists in not just in Africa. He exhibits in New York and UK and places like that, but he loves cycling.
It is quite I think when you come to events like this where you think it's just going to be cycling related people, and then somebody famous from somewhere else just pops up because they have a passion for cycling. I mean, you don't know, they might be an actor or something like that, but they ride their bike every day and they thought they'd love to go and watch the World Championships in Rwanda. So yeah, it is interesting, the people that you meet at the World Championships.
Yeah, there's a lot of people around, definitely, who've come to Rwanda. They want the experience. We are waiting for our first riders to reach intermediate time splits. We haven't quite got there yet. Rwanda are very well drilled as a squad.
Yeah, they do look good. They have looked good right from the start. They've looked particularly good. So I think they're lining up here for UCI points, which is so important to their nation to have. And some teams are lining up here hoping for a medal or a gold medal. Rwanda's main ambition is just to get the best position possible for the most amount of UCI points, which will give them a qualification for more riders at the next World Championships, for example. So for Rwanda, it's about putting in their best performance, the experience, doing their nation proud on home soil, and also those vital UCI points that are up for grabs.
Yeah, I know a lot of people wonder sometimes when we get to the road races at the weekend why the Netherlands have 8 riders, so to speak, and then Rwanda have 1 or 2. And you've just kind of outlined why.
Yeah, it's an interesting point that the Netherlands, who have won twice this discipline, the team time trial, are not competing today.
Yeah, true.
You know, if they did, they'd definitely be a medal chance or a gold medal winning chance. But they're definitely focusing on their road races and individual events and not participating in this event. And obviously not that interested in the UCI points they could gain from getting a medal here. So for Rwanda, they're looking, I think, one of the most well-drilled teams we've seen so far off the start ramp.
Yeah, they look very, very good indeed. This is our final team in this block. This is the team of China, Li Yu, Lu Jiankun and Su Haiyu. This team is about to get going. Be interesting to see how they do. Chinese cycling growing all the time. One of the team here, a member of the Astana squad, as he gets going, and now getting more and more involved in world cycling as well, because they've got, of course, this massive sponsorship of the Astana team riding on those X-Lab bikes, and actually the Astana team is part owned now by China. And you've been there quite a lot. Yeah,
it's a very interesting move, but I do think that we will see a lot more riders from China in the peloton in the future, and that they have exceptional talent there. They have exceptional funding for cycling, and it's like this world of a tiny little program going on that nobody really knows about, but they've got these athletes that are capable of so much that we haven't seen yet, and they're developing them. So it's I think, yeah, we will see the peloton have a lot more Chinese riders, and you know, really competitive as well, because they're already at a level that I think would really surprise people.
Benin have just gone through the first split. 16 minutes 42.44 for the split. The crowd today is bigger.
Yeah, I mean, the people have been out since, I think, 8, 9 o'clock this morning. They've just been banging on the barricades, cheering all the riders on the route on the course. And I mean, the locals, they're so into that, passionate about this event and cycling.
When you're, if you put the television on here, it's on all the time.
Yeah, it's just amazing how cycling, I guess it's just one of their, I wouldn't say that they're mainstream sports, but it is.
It's becoming that way.
It's becoming that way, yeah.
Here's our next squad we've been looking at, the Rwandan team. I'm glad they're back in these jerseys, because when we were out on the course earlier on today, the Rwandan team was wearing a completely different jersey. And I thought, OK, we're now going to have to spot a different jersey in the peloton over the road races. But thankfully, they've gone back to their normal kit, because the other jersey was lovely, but would have been harder to spot. Oh, Uganda have flown up this climb. They've gone through the fastest time, 14 minutes 14.01 for Uganda. The average speed there was pretty high.
Yeah, 37.5 kilometres per hour for the lap of the men from Uganda. So, well, not for the lap, sorry, the first split there at 8.9 kilometres. They do look real good, don't they?
But that's a real drag, isn't it, up to there? So
yeah.
37k an hour is rapid, because they're now going to start to fly downhill, and they'll really pick up the tempo all the way back to Kigali now. So they're looking good, nice and relaxed. 46k an hour for this squad. This Rwanda team, you can see the way they're riding. It's quite an unusual formation. That middle rider is always sitting to the right-hand side, and the other rider is sitting to the left-hand side at the back. Yeah,
I think when we get to the last wave of riders and the more experienced riders, we won't see that. We'll see them in a dead straight line. But if you're a little bit nervous about clipping the wheel, getting a little bit too close, they sit a little bit to the side, which gives them an aerodynamic disadvantage, of course, but safety first.
This is the Kigali Genocide Memorial. We were going to try and go here this morning, but the whole training situation meant that we didn't, because there was so much going on around the hotel. But also, you had to get a motorbike taxi to get there.
Yeah, the closed roads have caused a little bit of chaos. I mean, the locals are happy with it. They know their way around and all that kind of thing, but it is a difficult... there's just so many people and so many things going on in different areas. You've got the fan zone there, and you've got the concert going on over there, and the VIP area, and there's so many things going on all the time. So, yeah, sometimes to get to one place that's very close can take a very long time. Yeah,
and I don't fancy 8 kilometres on a motorbike taxi, because everyone was telling me it was really safe. And I'm sure it is, but I'm not so sure that I want to be on the back of one. As the team go down the other side of the road, just going past us on the right-hand side as we were looking. The Rwandan team still working well. The time to beat is obviously that team of Uganda, 14 minutes and 14. So many of the kids are out as well today to cheer everybody on. They don't stand by the barriers, do they? Because they're not, I don't think they're allowed to stand by the barriers. So they cheer on from sort of a distance as we just see Rwanda about to lose a rider.
Yeah, that's not good for Rwanda, because they were the most well-drilled team when they went off the start line, but now they're down to 2, and you can see the second rider struggling as well, just with balance and coordination, which comes down to fatigue. That they may have just all gone out a little bit too hard, but they have to be careful now. It's going to be a real hard second part of the race, where they haven't even gone through the first time check yet. But
yeah. They could have done with keeping their riders together for this descent. Even here, though, the Benin team is struggling a little bit on this descent to keep 2 riders together, which is what you have to do. They're not as you mentioned, you'll see the later teams right in on the wheel. No gaps between them. They'll do everything they can to stay as close as possible. Here's the arrival of our next team at the intermediate. This is Ethiopia. They're going well, actually. The team of Uganda was 14-14. And Ethiopia go into the leads.
Very interesting. So they may not look very well drilled in terms of aerodynamic position and equipment and things like that, but they've got the power. They've got the brute power, should I say, and they are absolutely flying. So they've gone through with the fastest time in front of Uganda and Benin. And their average speed at the first time check at 8.9 kilometres was 38.2 kilometres per hour.
That's pretty rapid, isn't it?
Significantly faster than Uganda.
The Benin team, the women, are getting ready. Their last warm-ups. They've got to be on the stage, ready for the end of this time trial of the rest of their team. Those last moments of just getting the F out. What sort of warm-up will these teams be doing here? How long?
Well, it's interesting with the warm-up here at this particular World Championships, because you're at altitude and you do have that heat. It's not extremely hot, but it's a different type of heat. And as we've both experienced, Anthony, it's also quite a dusty air, so it's very hard to breathe. So with the warm-up, you want to be careful that you don't overdo it. So it's not every event is different, but it's not just a normal, Tour de France, Giro d'Italia or a classics race warm-up. It's really got to be specific to your body and what you're capable of and your adaptation to this environment.
It's funny, when you talk to the riders, and it doesn't matter whether they're male or female, all of them have said that it's not the legs, it's the lungs that are hurting.
Yes, that's right. They're at altitude. They've got a little bit of that, dusty air, and it's just burning. I've felt it myself this morning, actually, out on the course. It's, it is very difficult to get the air in. So I think the altitude and air has been very underestimated by the riders, and a lot of riders are really struggling.
The Chinese team. We go back here to Benin. This is the intermediate split number 2. Benin go through in 24 minutes, 10.65. Since they lost their rider, they look like they're now much more cohesive as a unit, spinning along well. And it looks like they're starting to produce some good speed on the way back down to Kigali. Still the fastest team at the first intermediate split is Ethiopia. It's fun here. You can see the riders as one team goes up, the next team comes down the other side. They're able to see them on the other side of the road and keep an eye on everything that's going on. Little conversation here between the Rwandan squad, obviously just trying to keep each other together. Is there much talking in a team time trial, or is it not really possible?
I think when we go off for the favourites in the last wave of riders, we won't see any communication between the riders unless it's a body communication, so body language communication. However, it's really important. Obviously, we have a rider here from Rwanda really struggling, which means the rider on front needs to be aware. He needs to look around, he needs to know and keep him with him, because the time is taken off the second rider that crosses the line, and then their 3 women will go out for the last part of the relay.
He's really hurting right now, making his way towards the top. Just got to hang on for as long as possible. These long drags really do burn. I fear for this rider when we get to the cobbles. This is going to hurt, and hurt a lot.
Yeah. Hurting already before the first time check at the top, or near the top.
This is the Rwandan team then, coming up to the first intermediate split. Let's see how they do. They're pretty close to it. They're just outside the time of Ethiopia. That's a good performance, isn't it? 4 seconds down, so they're in the ballpark.
Yeah, that'll be a little bit motivating for them. If they could cross the line and get themselves into a hot seat, that would be a wonderful experience for Rwanda. But as you say, 4.5 seconds down at the first time check. It's not a lot.
Now they start the descent. There's a little bit of water on this lens. I hope there's no rain out there, because if it rains on these roads, can you imagine what it's going to be like?
I wouldn't want to be having my bike on an angle on those white lines, I can tell you that. After this morning, it was completely dry, no wind, super fast descents, and super, super dangerous or technical corners. So if it rains, yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Benin onto the cobbles for the first time.
Benin being our first team to start today. They're down to 2 riders.
Does it make a difference when you're going uphill like this to try and share the pace making, or is it better for one rider to do the majority of the pace making?
I think it depends on the individual rider, but with this particular team, there'll be one rider that climbs stronger than the other and says, okay, I'll take the lead for the climbs, and it's just motivating to have a wheel to chase rather than just trying to struggle through a really hard cobbled climb without anyone in front of you. So looks like he's got a little bit of power now and says, hey, I can, you know, this is deceiving here because deceptive. You come around this corner to the right and it just keeps going up. You think you're at the top, and then you think that's the top, but it goes left again and it still keeps going up. It's a really, really tough climb.
And when you were out this morning, did you notice the majority of riders sitting in the saddle or getting out the saddle? This rider really starting to suffer. A little bit of a shout to remind his teammate.
Yeah, big trouble there. And he did yell out, he did call out and say, yep, wait up. So he's giving him the attention. We both need to get across that finish line so we can send our 3 women off for the final lap.
2 kilometres to pace. Yes, were they sitting in the saddle or were they getting out of the saddle?
Yes, Anthony, definitely sitting in the saddle. Even the riders that were flying past at a super high pace, doing a really hard effort on the cobbles, they're all sitting in the saddle. So obviously they want to keep traction, keep some weight in the saddle and keep as much traction and surface area of the tyre on the cobbles so they can propel themselves forward. So a lot of the riders, I didn't see anyone out of the saddle, to be honest, on the cobble section.
Okay. And big wide tyres on most bikes?
Yeah, newish, should I say, trend to cycling. Yeah, the more surface area of the tyre that makes contact with the road, the more you can propel yourself forward, obviously, with the power. So, yeah, as I said, it'll just be a really, really tricky thing for the athletes and their mechanics to decide what tyre pressures they run on a course that has smooth roads, super smooth roads, and then a very, very hard cobbled climb.
They seem to have got themselves together here. They've not got long to go. They're inside the final 2 kilometres to set the standard for everyone else to beat. Here's the People's Republic of China coming up to that first split. This looks like a fast performance by these riders. Ethiopia top of the leaderboard, 13:58.48. But the Chinese squads are closing in now. It's not going to be a massive beating, but it's 21 seconds already for the Chinese squads.
I think at the half-time check in this wave of riders, that's quite a significant 21 seconds for the Chinese. I think it's impressive but unexpected. Not for me. As I said before, I'm aware of this little secret hub of developing cyclists that they have there in China, and there's a lot of talent there, and I think a lot of effort's gone into preparation for this team time trial to gain them UCI points so they can represent more people at the World Championships.
Do they have closed road circuits and things that are secretly built, or is it?
They have a couple, yes.
They do. A little bit like the non-secret ones in Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Well, they're not that long as they are in 80-kilometre desert cycling circuit and very public and very used, the one in Dubai. However, this is more for a very enclosed secret circle of developing cyclists.
You're lucky to have been able to go and see that.
Yeah, so it really blew me away, actually. Just, you know, the technology, the science, the dedication and commitment from the athletes, and the level of their performance just really blew me away.
Wow. It's always like that for me when I go to the UAE, the way that they have all their things set up, and you're lucky enough to be there a lot and know what the advances they've made in their progression of cycling. Whoops, this is the arrival then of the next team, the team of Uganda. They're going to catch the team of Benin, coming flying their way up this hill. They look good, don't they?
They do. They went through the first time check 37 seconds behind China, who went through the fastest, but they are coming home quite strong.
They're going to catch them just before the top here. As we turn left, you get to the 1 kilometre to go point. So they're almost on the wheel now. There's the red kite, the universal symbol of cycling, to say we've got 1,000 metres to go. And now this is going to be a little difficult, Rochelle, because normally you have one team sitting on the ramp getting ready to go, and right now 2 teams are going to come in pretty much together. I don't know how they're going to deal with this and have enough space. I think they've just got about enough space for 2 teams to be alongside each other, but it's going to be very tight.
Yeah, I think they'll have to slipstream a little bit. There is enough space to be side by side, but I think they will slipstream a little bit to get through the finish line.
Here's the arrival of the 2 teams side by side. And then we've got to get the women underway alongside each other on the ramp. That's going to be a little challenge coming up now. You'll have 6 riders alongside each other on a ramp that's built, I think, for 6, is it? Just about.
Yeah, the ramp built for 6. 3 riders will be going off that ramp.
There we go.
Oh,
look.
Yes.
Wow.
They go off at the same time.
It's literally going to be 2 teams at the same time going off the ramp. Now, this is complicated. Let's hope nothing happens. The Ugandan team is going to be given the nod first.
Well, they are the stronger team, so then they'll be just off in the clear. And, well, we don't know with the women. They might not be as strong as their men were, so it'll be interesting to see. They've only got they've got the full squad there, 3 to start with the women.
They have, there they are. So Mary Alepa, Nanta Maria and Florence Nakagwa are about to get going for Uganda. Massive crowd cheering these riders on. The Ugandan team have finished and the other riders are given the off then, so everything is okay. They haven't gone exactly the same time. The Ugandan men came past us here, and the Benin team have just cracked a little bit towards the finish. The minute the second rider goes across the line, Benin are underway now. Kamani Awisu, Yetonda Kokuhude and Charlotte Matovi. Benin are underway. A real competition between those teams then. So at the end of the lap, 29 minutes 20 for Uganda, 4 minutes behind the team of Benin. Just past us up here on the left-hand side is all those huts, all the places for all the teams to be, isn't it? Just up on our left-hand side.
Yeah, so the team's protocol when they finish the line, if they have finished in the top 3, it's all very chaotic because they have to do a flash interview, then they go into their tent to wash down, and they'll have a soigneur or a masseur who cleans their face and gives them change of clothes and everything, and then they rush off to the podium, they do the podium, and then they have to go to the mix zone where they have their national TV interviews, and they have to go to doping control. So we've got tents and things happening all around the finish line here.
Yeah, there's loads of them. Wherever I look, there's tents. So much infrastructure to our World Championship. I have to say, the way that this is organised has been superb. We're very lucky. Our hotel is a walk to where we're commentating. Across is the restaurant, but you come out, you're right on the circuit, you get to see all the riders. So this morning, while you were riding, I managed to get to see Tadej Pogačar, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, Demi Vollering, had a chat to her, Anna van der Breggen, Isaac Del Toro, Tom Pidcock, all of the riders out and about doing their reconnaissance, and it's right on the doorstep. And I've been at World Championships where, and you have with me, where we've had to get cabs, buses, ride there.
Yeah, it's unbelievable here. I mean, from my balcony, I can literally call out to a rider that's riding past and say, hey, how you doing? You know, it's everything is, the organisation has been very, very well done, I would say. I mean, from a perspective of a rider as well as all the staff, that it's one of the best. I think we've been doing it for nearly 20 years, and we're one of the best organisations we've come across, so it's been very, very well done.
Yeah, because you and I know that generally when we come to World Championships and you're talking to the, as we just see the arrival, let's bring this squad home. This is the team of Ethiopia. They've been riding well. They are just behind Rwanda as the fastest team through the second split. So Ethiopia just lost a rider just at the top of the climb.
A little bit too much urgency. Just needs to bring his teammate home because it's all about the second place rider.
And that last finish is horrible. The team of Ethiopia about to go. Brian Abra have to raid. Circle in Watango. And they get going now. 50k away. I've got to go back and forward with the team. The team managers meeting's there, and this is over here and that's over there, because generally team managers are a bit like that.
Yeah, Rwanda has been a little bit of a different experience.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's you know, you need to be somewhere, they'll make sure you're there.
Yeah, and talking to team managers this morning, how's it going? Great was the answer. We're only a couple of K down the road. This is what it's like. We get here, it's nice and easy. Another team manager I was walking here with said, absolutely amazing organisation. Can't believe how easy it is to get around.
Well, a good example is when I finished doing a lap this morning and I took my helmet off and sat down, two of the local organising committee ladies came up and said, would you like us to get a doctor for you? I said, no, I'm
yeah,
fine.
that would be nice.
I'm fine. But everything is thought of and thought through. So there's, you know, it's quite an amazing experience.
This rider's had to swap to a Shimano neutral service bike, unfortunately. This is Florence Nakagwa, has had a problem. We didn't see exactly what the problem was. Let's take a little look here. Rochelle, she's got a big issue. She's had to swing across the road and has had to take a Shimano neutral service bike.
We didn't get a very good look of what. She may have gear issues.
I don't know what the problem is, whether it's a puncture or something else.
She may be stuck in the large chain ring. Yeah, a bit difficult to see maybe with the electronic gears, but I think given she's just been passed by another team, it's going to be an impossible task to get back to the two riders. So unfortunately that'll be the day done and dusted. We're back with Rwanda. Now they're in trouble because they need to keep these two riders together. This is the men. They still have their three women to finish off.
The rider number 111, Bekusenga, is getting pretty angry with his teammates, isn't he?
He's getting frustrated that he can't let all of his effort out. But like I said, you really need to motivate your teammate. There's 500 metres to go, and I can tell you it's a very, very difficult 500 metres. So the rider in second place is in the absolute hurt box.
Rwanda are about to finish. They're coming together to the line. He keeps checking. He's obviously the strongest rider in the team, but in reality, you're only as strong as your weakest link in the team. That is the difference in a team time trial. He's going to empty the tank here into the finish, try and give it everything for Rwanda. Those legs are absolutely searing in pain.
Well, this is professional. He's frustrated. But the professionalism in just waiting, because that's all he can do, is impressive.
It is. He's done the right thing here as he brings his teammate to the line. And yeah, there'll be a few words, I'm sure, but once they sit down and relax at the end of it, they'll realise that they helped each other to the end of this World Championship, doing everything he can, shake of the head.
He'll have, at the end of the day, he'll have respect for how hard his teammate worked, how much pain he put himself through.
And he's annoyed with his teammate right now. Not impressed at all. shook of the head. He actually slowed the team down, and he should realise that, because he slowed right down and crossed the line a few seconds behind his teammate at the end. Should have done everything he could. He did everything he could, but actually the heat to the head.
Yeah, he'll regret that a little bit later in the
team
evening.
a few seconds. That might cost them some points, Rochelle.
Yeah, it's all about, like we said, it's all about UCI points for the developing nations out here. Uganda have got their women now out on course, finishing off the job of the men. They were in 4th position, so will the Uganda women be able to improve on that?
Situation at the end is that Ethiopia leads, Uganda are second, Rwanda are in 3rd place, and I think maybe there's a bit of
Frustration that the Rwanda team slowed down, but they're only a split second behind the Ugandan squad, not too much at all. And we've seen the Rwandan women looking really strong on the bike, so we'll see how they do in comparison to Ron. This is
last team to get to the finish. They've been the fastest team so far at the splits. At the second split, they're 46 seconds faster, and they still seem to be riding a really strong performance here. They look good. The arrival then of China. This last bit of this climb, as you said, the last 500 metres, seems to take forever.
It does, and I can tell you, looking for that, you see the 500 metre to go sign, but waiting for the 400 metre one and waiting for the 300 metre one,
it takes so long, and you think you can see the finish line, but you actually can't. It curves around a little bit, and it's just really mentally tough, especially after just coming off those cobbles. You get, it's a little bit of a tease, because you come off the cobbles, which are really hard uphill climb, you get a downhill and a little bit of reprieve, a little bit of rest for about 200 or 300 metres, and then the road just starts going all the way up to the finish.
And it's just pain. People's Republic of China are about to go. So we've got Seng Lu Wao, Chang Huao and Chao Thing about to go. China are the best riders so far then at the end of that first group. 27 minutes 54.73. There are 3 women now out on the course. Let's see how these squads go.
Well, these women from China, they're out on their final lap of the team time trial relay here. It's really fantastic, I think, of the UCI to have created this event, which is a mixed team time trial relay, to bring women's and men's cycling together. And we see that in other sports. So when you go to the World Championships for athletics, for example, you will see a relay, but you will also see a mixed team relay, with both the men and women. And that's what we're watching here today, is the men and women coming together, and we're identifying the strongest nations at a really high level of their top men and women combined.
Yeah, because I remember sitting watching the triathlon, and they have a mixed relay, and I thought it was one of the best events that you could have, because you've got the mixed athletes. They're really putting in everything. Things chop and change as the race goes on. And this format, I think when it started, everyone was a bit up in arms, because everyone loved the time trial. Just looking here to see this rider. This is Diane Ingabire. Now, where is the rest of her squad? There they are, just up in front. So she must have had a little bit of a problem.
She seems to still be going well, so I wonder if she can get back.
You make a good point, because if it wasn't a problem and it was a physical, fatigue issue,
they only need 2 rides to cross the line, but slowing down a little bit to let her get back on. She's still fighting very hard. Get the 3 of them back together and might get them to the finish quicker. So they'll have to make a decisive call between them out on the road, whether these 2 riders keep pushing on or if they just completely sit up, because if they don't just completely sit up, it just makes it too hard for the 3rd rider to make contact again. Well, they're not sitting up, so it's going to be a real hard ask now for the 3rd rider to get back.
Yep, she's going to have a big problem, but she's one of the talented riders in that group. And you wonder whether they've made the right decision or not. Time will tell. as to how things are going to go. There's the Chinese team. They're happy with their performance. And their riders are now out on the course, doing everything they can to keep the time ticking along nicely. They have given them a nice advantage at the finish line. 52.8 seconds is the advantage for China, but it all comes down to whether the women are going as well as they are. The Chinese women seem very well drilled right now, the way they're riding. On the front is Cheng Lu Yao. You can see they've done a lot of work, as Rochelle had outlined. One rider is sitting on a little bit, though, and it might be that they are coming up towards this corner and decided that's probably a good idea. But they've clearly been well drilled in terms of their ability to ride as a team. They're checking on each other all the time, making sure the gap hasn't opened too much, and making sure that everybody is in a good position, so they then work together, keep everyone in the same line, make sure that everybody is happy. Great performance here by the People's Republic of China. Back with the Ugandan team. And it's Leperas on the front. And Leper working well with the rider on her wheel as they make their way up towards this first time split. It won't be long until they reach there, and then we'll get an idea of how these teams are all progressing along the road. But Ingabire of Rwanda hasn't got herself back on. Uganda have lost a rider, so they've only got these two riders together. Mary Alepa and Nantumi Maria are working nicely together. Nice small gears, don't have the time trial bikes. They're at a massive disadvantage, aren't they, in not having time trial bikes?
Yes and no. At elite level, yes. In developing level, they need to have control over their bikes, and time trial bikes are not easy to ride. A newcomer to cycling, so it's you need to get the best performance out of themselves on the day. They really do need to be able to control their bikes. It's a very technical circuit, so perhaps in this case they can give their best performance on a road bike rather than a time trial bike. But when you get to the elite level and the last wave of riders, you have to be on time to be in the game. Yeah, otherwise you're nowhere near. So in terms of, I guess you've got a bit of a competition within a competition here. You've got the nations who are the emerging nations who are improving all the time. We remember back to team time trials in the past where these emerging nations were very disorganised in the way they rode. They couldn't really ride together, and that's not being harsh, that's just reality. Whereas now, actually, when you look at them, you see the way they're riding together, and they are right in the wheels, they are keeping everything together, they are making sure that everybody is on the wheels, they're checking over their shoulders, and yeah, there's a bit of annoyance now and then that they've not quite had the teammate to perform at the level they needed. But right now, things are much more cohesive in the way that they ride. You can see that. There's much more power in the legs. There's a lot of enthusiasm for the sport as well. So many of these riders really want to do this and really want to be part of it. I was talking earlier on, she's going to ride in a while for the UCI World Cycling Centre to Alalia Darwish. And she is an Egyptian rider, so outgoing, wants to really ride these World Championships, wants to perform, knows it's going to be hard, going to be up against, alongside the Afghanistan riders, the two Hashmi sisters. But she doesn't worry, she's having a wonderful time. She's here at the World Championships, she's learning, she looks great on a bike, and she's learning how to be more powerful and how to train, picking up experience from some of the best riders in the world who she's riding alongside on the reconnaissance this morning, for example. As we come up here,
This is intermediate 1 at lap 2. Uganda go through 47 minutes 18.69 is the time to that second intermediate split. We saw that aerial shot of the Chinese team and everything looks much more drilled. When these teams go out and actually spend time training for this discipline, and we heard teams yesterday saying, you know, they had worked hard. What sort of training is it that they do? Do they just go out on a flat road and just go through and off and flat out, or is there a lot more to it?
Oh, there's a lot more to it. For a team time trial, and specifically for this circuit in the World Championships, the preparation, if you want to be a medal contender or put in a really good performance, as we said, some of the emerging nations, they really want the UCI points that they can gain from this event. They can't just show up with a couple of sessions of training. They have to really spend a lot of time on their bikes. They need to get to the point where they can actually read their teammates' body language and communicate through body language. And like I said, it's not really about one individual's power and speed. It's all about just basically knowing what your team's capable of. So time on the bike, time together on different terrains, it's really, really important. And then you've got your team around you that has to give all of the advice, nutritionally, adaptation to altitude, and all of the equipment. It's a incredible amount of work that needs to go into preparing for a team time trial.
It's a bit of science, isn't it? Benin have just gone through 5 minutes 23 seconds down. Here comes Ethiopia, and they're already coming up to that split, and they're riding superbly. All three riders together, 2 minutes and 7 seconds faster. They've already extended the advantage over the Ugandan team, which is fantastic to see. And they're riding a very strong race here, these three women.
They certainly are, bringing it home for Uganda.
Here's the Rwandan team out on the course. Do they even scientifically work out which position you should be riding in? Which riders lead and which riders don't?
Well, it's a very interesting question, Anthony, because when I looked at the men from Rwanda and the women, they're all on the same tyres, same wheels, same bike, same equipment. So they have got very high-end equipment prepared for this time trial. However, no specific bike is suitable for a particular rider. So if they're taking the event really seriously, they need to get into a wind tunnel and work out what position they can produce the most power in. That was a good move there. China in trouble. They've gone through all the time checks the fastest.
Yeah, now they're in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah. Went out very, very hard. They've got the women out on the circuit now, and they've got only 2 riders left of the 3 women that started.
Yeah, can't see where their other one is.
Yeah, they're down to 2.
But from the start, they looked fantastic from the helicopter shot. They looked really well drilled. Suddenly, they've kind of cracked.
Yeah, it can happen. There's so many aspects of this World Championship that's so difficult to deal with. Apart from the course being particularly hard, it's the climate, it's the altitude, adaptation, hydration. But I think the rider on the front now is doing a really good job.
It's funny, when you look at the elevation, 740 metres of elevation today. It's quite a lot, but actually Zurich had more last year. So it must be the altitude that's causing the problem.
Yeah, 740 metres of altitude in this distance, just over 40 kilometres of the team relay, is quite a significant amount of climbing in a course.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most, but probably harder, a lot harder, because of the cobbled climb and the altitude and the climate here. So you can see the women from China, they had their men go through the finish super fast, more than a minute faster than another team, but they are in big trouble right now.
Yeah, they're in all sorts of trouble. Look at them. You can't really come back from this, can you?
Yeah, when your second rider is blown up like that, we say hit the wall.
Yeah.
Gone completely lactic. The lactic acid buildup, it's going to take, in a normal environment at sea level, 20 to 30 minutes to remove some lactic acid.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen here, unfortunately, for the Chinese.
They're waiting, trying to bring their rider to the top. But once they get over the top, you've got this respite, and you'll be able to get at least the legs feeling a little bit better. You can see how much this is hurting now. They're on these X-Lab bikes, the same bikes as the Astana team rides.
Been developed in China, huge Chinese company that deal with the X-Lab bikes, and they've been really brought up to world tour level by that work with Astana and learning what the team need.
Yeah, it's been a really big move from the Chinese to investing in cycling. I think they've made really big leaps and bounds, and like I said earlier in our program, I think in 5 years we're going to see a lot more
the world stage of cycling.
Alexander Vinokurov is the head of that Astana team. He's brought that Chinese partnership in, and it seems to be working extremely well and getting good rewards. The Rwandan women, I'm going to be interested to see how close China are going to be to Ethiopia here. Because let's bear in mind, at the end of the lap one with men, China were 52 seconds ahead of Ethiopia. But we've seen the Ethiopian women reach the top of the climb all together, riding strongly. And I wonder whether they might turn the tables on the Chinese squad by the top.
I think they're closing in. I don't think they're going to turn the tables at this intermediate split, but they look like they're composed. So they've still got, time to bring back. So let's see when they come through this time check. They're still down on the Chinese.
This is Rwanda now, 42 seconds down on the Ethiopian women. So Rwanda were 33 seconds or so down on the team of Ethiopia. Now they've gone 52 seconds down, so they've lost more time. So top of the leaderboard to that point, Ethiopia. Rwanda at 42.89. If it's 2 seconds between them at the finish, it will come down to the first rider in the men's going across the line, his teammate getting annoyed and sitting up. That's how close this is going to end up being if that does happen. Now they're onto the descent. Big gear engaged, and we will get these riders down to the bottom of the descent. The start of the next team. This is our second block. This is the UCI World Cycling Centre, and this is Mohamed Dalai, Yafit Mulugeta and Ahmed Wais. So we've got a Tunisian, an Eritrean, one of our refugee team getting going now as they work their way out of the starts. World Cycling Centre, based predominantly from their hub in Aigle in Switzerland, but there's a number of other hubs around the world as well, isn't there, now, for the World Cycling Centre? It's not just about being in Switzerland.
No, the UCI have done a fantastic job in globalising, and we just see having the World Championships in Africa here. We see the efforts they've put in over the last 5 to 10 years to globalise cycling has just been incredible.
And those little hubs, those World Cycling Centre hubs, mean that the African nations have access. It means that riders are able to come who don't have the support. They learn, they come to Switzerland, they learn to ride there. Then sometimes we've heard about them being taken to a bit of a training camp in the north of France as well, as we see the Chinese team coming up to this split. And despite the Chinese team having that problem, they are still, by the looks of things, going to be the fastest team.
Yeah, I think the decision was probably made to just leave our strongest rider on the front. She's obviously restricted to the efforts of a second rider. It's just about maintenance and just being aware of your teammates and try and get that second rider to the finish line as quick as possible. So they've not yet gone through the second time check, but they did go through.
So they're all like that intermediate one, aren't they? And Uganda have just got to that second time split. So China, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Uganda and Benin is the current order. China leading by 48 seconds. Ethiopia are 42 seconds ahead of Rwanda. And then 1 minute 25 to Uganda. And then there's the team of Benin
who are about 8 and a bit minutes behind. But it's all about taking part. That's what this section of this team mixed relay is all about. In our next group of riders, we have the Belgian squad and the Spanish squad.
Talking about the favourites, who do you see as the favourites for today, if you had to name the top two?
France and Australia.
Australia.
That's an easy top two for me to say. Switzerland will definitely be in the mix for sure.
Okay.
You know, they're the three nations I expect to be on the podium. Germany. I know Belgium are in a bit of trouble today, just making up numbers and there for the points and experience, because they had one of their really good riders, Marta Goossens, who was 21st in the individual time trial, have a little bit of an accident last night. She fainted and hit her head and
really?
had stitches. Yeah, so that would have been a strong addition to the team. She's out now, so that kind of just changes, you know, let's just get out there for the experience. Let's get some UCI points, do our best with what we've got. But
that's going to hurt that team, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for the Belgians, they would have liked to have really had that rider in Marta Goossens.
Yeah, she's so useful, isn't she, Marta Goossens? That's a shame that we don't see that. So you think then that Australia and France are our first and second place teams?
Yeah, I mean, Switzerland could possibly as well.
Okay.
So I say Australia, France and Switzerland are top three. I like the names on the list for Australia. I think they're all very experienced, very strong.
Let's see how they go.
Defending champions.
Mauritius are underway. Aurélien de Cormorans, Alexandra Meyer and William Piat. Mauritius, of course, have got Kim Lecourt in this squad of women when they come back round. Kim Lecourt did so well in the Tour de France. This is the warm-up area. This is the Belgian squad on the far side we were talking about. They do have Victor Campenaerts. They've got Florian Vermeers. But the women's squad is going to struggle a little bit.
It was interesting when I asked Victor, you know, about the team time trial relay here at the World Championship. And he said, you know, my participation in this event is to give experience to our developing riders on a world stage and a world level. Obviously, he won't be able to go out there and give his best effort because he needs to keep his teammates with him, and it's a real team effort. So he wants to give an opportunity to his country, you know, and yeah, I think that's a really nice thing to do. And, you know, he could say, hey, look, I'm coming to the World Championships and I just want to ride the individual events and I don't want to be a part of the team relay. I want to recover and rest. But a really nice guy, really respectful, and he'll be out there just giving all the knowledge he has and experience he has to his teammates.
This is painful, isn't it?
Yeah, this is really painful. As we said, the two women from Uganda, they need to cross the line together, so they're only as strong as their second rider.
Mary Aleppa starting to suffer a little bit on this cobble climb. See if she can pull it together a little bit, get back on the wheel, get herself into position. It's really hard to explain just how tough this is.
You're absolutely right. And it's just a super tough climb. It's just, you know, you come onto the climb and you think you can see a corner where it's the end of the climb, but it just keeps going. And every single thing, like your arms and muscles and skin and eyeballs and everything, teeth are chattering and shaking, and it's really hard to keep traction. There were a few drops of rain earlier today, which would have made it even slippery and much more difficult. However, it's just, you can see here, you think you come to the top, but you see there, it goes around the corner and it just keeps going up. So it's a really tough climb. Physically, but mentally, it's very, very difficult.
But it's the other feeling as well, isn't it? You've just described beautifully about how you think that you're just riding a bike and you're on a line and you're riding, but suddenly when you go into the red zone like the rider in second place is going into right now, it's the feeling of everything is drained.
Yeah, and when you're on the cobbles and everything's shaking,
it's even worse.
It's just so hard to push power through the pedals. All you want to do is just stop and sit down. Get off the bike and sit down. It's just so hard to keep the momentum of keeping the bike going. Just keep going. And it's the pain. You just have to bear the pain. But you know, sometimes physically the power's not there. So it's really, really difficult.
They've got themselves back together here on this cobbled rise.
It does go on a long way, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Well, it's over 2 kilometres. What cobbled climb lasts for 2 kilometres?
At that gradient.
Yeah, that gradient. Going back to the starts, the Mauritian team have gone. This should be the team of Ukraine. And it is. So we've got Harol Chikov, we've got Danilo Kozaris and Seaman Simon. There are 3 men who are about to get going for Ukraine. I never realised, right, that the commissaires have actually a specific way of counting down from 5. That they actually learn how to count down from 5 with their fingers.
They learn to count down from 5?
Yeah, they do, apparently. I don't know if that's an urban myth, but I'm pretty sure it's true. Because they have to end up with the final finger being the finger to say, go, off you go. So they actually... It must be an exam in the commissaires course, do you reckon? They count down from 5. 4, 3, 2, 1. I can't even do it. But, yeah. But apparently that is a thing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the UCI, I mean, all of the commissaires have to attend the UCI's training, so that would be one of the aspects for sure. And obviously they're giving different languages in different world championships.
And they won't mind me saying that at all. I love working with the commissaires around the world, and we have good fun. And they give us the information we need. But, you have to learn to count down from 5 to 1. It's a bit like Remco Evenepoel the other day when he was trying to get the 3 fingers together to show us that he'd won 3 titles in a row. Took him a bit of thinking. Maria Lepper is coming back to her teammate. He's doing a good job of looking after her here and just letting her come back steadily. It's going to be another really hard push up to the finish line, and then we'll see how these riders are doing, and they will set the standard for all of the other squads to chase this afternoon. Through this heat haze. So Maria Lepper and her teammate almost there now for the team of Uganda.
And only 200 meters to go.
It's been a horrible race, you can tell.
Everything, and they will be at the finish soon.
But they will be able to say we completed the World Championship. They'll know what their time is. They'll better compare themselves to the other nations. That last little push over the top, and then they'll see the line. And they will make their way to the conclusion, and then all the pain can stop. At least for a little while. Just checking over the shoulder one more time, just to bring her teammate to the finish. Uganda are almost there, our first team to complete this course. Ethiopia will be next. Those last pedal strokes, as Rochelle said, feel like an absolute eternity. The time has been set by Uganda, 1:05:58.19. Here's the arrival of the Ethiopian squad. Their 2 riders have stayed together. They've done a good job. They're going to be significantly faster than the team of Uganda. Here they come then into the finish line, and they finish right together.
Wow.
3:35 ahead.
Finished that off well, Ethiopia. China struggling out there. They had such a good ride with their men, and then their women, disastrous ride for them.
Let's see whether they can bring this back together, the Chinese team. I imagine it's going to be pretty hard. Here's the team of Spain. Now, this is a good squad. Hector Alvarez, Raul Garcia and Ivan Romeo. These guys are pretty rapid in a time trial. Ivan Romeo, under 23 world champion in the time trial, winner of a stage of the Dauphiné. Sprinting away here. Now, this is I'd say safe to say this is the first team, Rochelle, who are World Tour level riders and are really well drilled.
Absolutely. You can see directly now that we're seeing the professionalism of a team time trial and how it really works, and what these riders that we're watching on screen right now from Rwanda, they're trying to achieve, and this is an experience to do that. It takes an absolute special art, and it's just not just 1 year of hard work, it's years and years of experience to be able to ride a team time trial or a team pursuit very well. So it's a fine art to be able to sit right on the wheel and to be so aware of what your teammates are capable of behind you just by body language and hearing the breathing and just signals and stuff like that. So we're going to see a huge difference in what this event's all about when we get from these emerging nations that are here for experience and TI points. And we have our first real professional team out on the circuit now.
Benin are almost there. Ethiopia's time, 1 hour and 2 minutes. Benin come through 9 minutes down, 9:52 down.
Means 12 teams left.
It's team time trial mixed relay.
Here's Rwanda. They're working well together now, these two, keeping each other going. Shoulder to shoulder to the top of the hill. Now they just need to bring the rest of this home. Going well, these two. Little acceleration over the top, just trying to keep the power on. 1,000 meters to go. A little downhill section to just get the legs turning over again before that final sprint to the top. They've looked good throughout this course, this team of Rwanda. And here's the World Cycling Centre coming up to the line, and they are down on the team of China by about a minute. 1 minute and 2 seconds down on China, the World Cycling Centre.
Well, we've spoken a lot about China, but yeah, they're not having the best ride with their women. But from that first wave of riders, obviously the UCI World Cycling Centre first off in the second wave. Good ride, solid ride out there at the moment.
At the finish line then, it's all about the Ethiopian team who are the fastest. Behind them, Uganda, then Benin. Rwanda are expected to finish soon. We're waiting to find out what the Chinese team will post for everybody else to chase. World Cycling Centre into the aero tucks now. Fast downhill. If they can keep their team together, that will help them on that section as they run up towards the line. Our next team is about to go. We were talking about them a moment ago. This is the team of Belgium, with Victor Kampenaerts on the far left, a world hour record holder in his career. Florian Vermeers, who is a rider here on the right-hand side, who rides in the same team as Tadej Pogačar. Finished second in the Paris-Roubaix, Florian Vermeers, and they've got Jonathan Verven in the middle. And they get started then, the team of Belgium. As Rochelle outlined, their women's team is going to be a little bit changed. Rwanda finished with the second fastest time. I'm wondering what the winning time is going to be. We're at 1 minute and 3 now.
Yeah, Rwanda finished 46 seconds in total. It's not a lot, I guess over 40 kilometres down on Ethiopia, who now sits in the hot seat as the fastest team that have finished the circuit, both men and women. I think we're going to see significantly faster. So the average speed of the fastest team so far to finish both their men and women in this mixed team relay is Ethiopia, and their average speed was 40.2 kilometres per hour. So over the 40 kilometres with the 3 men and the 3 women, we could probably predict, what do you think, Anthony, 45?
45, I think. Maybe a little bit faster. 46, maybe.
46 could be quite impressive on such a tough circuit.
You can join in with us. What's the prediction going to be? We think around 45, 46k an hour. Will it be faster than that? You can get us on social media as always. Let us know what you think. The Rwandan team now just trying to recover. Get the water poured on them, bring the temperature down. But sometimes, actually, I've noticed a number of riders saying, don't give me any more water. I can't deal with it.
It is very difficult to drink. Once you get a little bit dehydrated here, which happens very, very quickly, then it's super, super hard to swallow that water and get it in. So it's really, really difficult challenge here in Rwanda, not only for the cyclists, also the staff. All of us suffering with the different challenges and aspects and of the environment here. So yeah, when you finish your ride and you're super fatigued too, sometimes you just don't really want things pushed in your way.
No. This is a nice finish by the team of China, the Chinese women. Good teamwork. He said, come on, let's work together, and that's what they did. They crossed the line now, and China go to the top of the leaderboards. 118.72. It was a nice touch there as they got towards the top of the hill. The first place rider just saying, come on, on my wheel now, let's push this. Give it the last little sprint. And whilst her teammate was suffering, they just helped each other out, got themselves across the line, and the Chinese men celebrating, going to the top of the leaderboard. They're happy.
They're going to be in the hot seat, which is a wonderful experience at the World Championships. When you are the leader of a time trial or team time trial relay, you get the opportunity, the team, to stay in that area of the medalist, gold medalist, silver medalist and bronze medalist until your time is beaten, and then you have to leave. But for that period, watching the time and say, let's hope the next one doesn't beat us, the next one doesn't beat us, and you get to sit there and feel that, you know, real, I mean, I'm sitting in a winning position right now. It's a really fantastic opportunity for the athletes.
Yeah, and look how happy they are that they're going to be there, the Chinese team.
Well, they know that there's already been several other teams finished, and I think, you know, even if every other team finishes them, they've got to be happy with this ride, because they've beaten 5 other teams to the finish line. And that's really a significant amount of UCL points they'll take home for their nation.
You can see here this rider just trying to recover. She has given everything. The Chinese team are very happy with that performance. Winning Group 1, for them that is fantastic. And you can just hear how hard you had to perform in order to get that time. It's not easy at all. The Belgian men are out 4 minutes into their ride. We're waiting for the riders to arrive at the various intermediate time splits. Mauritius have gone through the first intermediate split, 54 seconds down on China. So the Chinese team did go significantly quick out on that first little section of this race. This shot gives you an idea of just how hilly Kigali is. And you see how quickly the roads drop off to the left-hand side, and you see the mountains in the background and everything. It's an interesting place as far as roads are concerned. 75k an hour, though, for the team of Belgium. Just trying to see who's there on the front. Campenaert's in second place. He goes through. He's so super smooth the way he rides. Verven was the rider who had been on the front, and it's Florian Vermeers who goes through in second place.
We were speaking, Anthony, earlier about the top speeds, because this morning I had the opportunity of sitting on the wheel of Anna van der Breggen, who was sitting on the wheel of a motorbike downhill, and we were hitting 90 kilometres per hour. So
wow.
When Victor Campenaerts went to the front, there's a very fast section. I wonder if he will hit 80 or 90 kilometres per hour in the wind, but he needs to be aware that his teammates are capable of that as well. They're running over 60 teeth chain rings on the front of their bikes, the men, and even up to 68 teeth. So that's absolutely a humongous gear, because they can gain, with their aerodynamics and professionalism and experience, those teams that are really, really dialed in, they're drilled in, they can really gain on the descent those crucial seconds for the gold medal.
Bit of a dinner plate on the front of these bikes for some of these riders. It looks like they're doing everything they can to get as much free speed as possible. Coming up then, the Ukrainian team.
A little bit of discussion going on between them. They're third fastest.
I find it very interesting that in the team trial relay, mixed relay that we're watching right now,
Team radios are allowed where riders can communicate with each other and the team director behind them. However, we've seen with the emerging nations, the first wave of riders going off, a lot of speaking going on face-to-face.
Yes.
Which means they may not be carrying a radio. But when you see the more experienced teams out there on the course, they'll have in the front of their chest strapped a team radio, and in their ear they'll have communication with each of the riders and with the team director that's following in the team car.
We'll try and spot that. These skin suits look super sleek that Spain have got, don't they?
You just beat me to it. I was just looking, you know, the zip in the back there, it's the wind comes over the helmet, so it misses that little bit. It allows less crumple in the front of the jersey, but it's all about the aerodynamics on the frontal surface area, the areas that hit the wind. And when we get to the elite of the elite in the team time trialling, it's all about aerodynamics and just trying to find the position where you can produce the most power in the most aerodynamic position.
But it's funny how team time trials and skin suits, a few years ago the zip was on the back. Then everyone said it's not fast with it on the back, so everyone had them on the front. We've had skin suits without zips, and then suddenly this year the zips, although they are, as you've just identified, shorter, are now back on the back.
Yeah, so we are seeing different trends all the time. That may be because of new materials. They may have come up with a new glossy, slippery, wind efficient zip material, or different positions of different riders make a big difference as well, because if their head is in the right position, the wind will slip over, it won't even touch that zip, so it won't catch any wind on that zip. So it's really a really individual thing, time trialling and the time trial position, but the equipment and aerodynamics, it's all about equipment and aerodynamics and finding how you can get the most power out of your bike and be most efficient. So rider number 63 a bit frustrated with pace.
Well, I don't know whether he's telling the car to be quiet.
He might be telling them too much talk on the radio. Stop, please.
Yeah. So the arrival of the Spanish squad. Look at that. That's a time, isn't it? Nearly a minute faster. On the back of the group was Ivan Romeo. He rides for the Movistar team. Oops. This rider is struggling on the cobbles now for the team of UCI World Cycling Centre. This is the rider who rides for the refugee team, Wais. Spain now. Let's watch them go down this descent. We'll see just how fast they are. They're dragging each other now down the descent as fast as possible.
Well, you can see even at high speeds that we see there's so much work from the front rider that needs to be done, and the second, third rider, just to get on the wheel, they don't even need to pedal. They can really breathe deep, get some air into the lungs. But it's a super fast, technical downhill, smooth roads, but there's so much power that needs to go through the pedals of the first rider and so much recovery for the second and third rider.
Just having a little look to see what chain rings they're on this afternoon. On the back is Raul Garcia, the Spanish time trial champion. This is the Belgian men with Victor Campenaerts on the front. Rides for the team of Visma Lease Bike. He's so careful about his equipment as well, isn't he, Campenaerts? Everything is about aerodynamics. Oops, Florian Vermeers almost touches the back wheel.
Again. Yeah, as we said, like, it's a very easy circuit to go out too hard, and then you see a little bit of fatigue come in, and that's why we see riders not sitting directly on the wheel, but just a little bit to the side.
The World Cycling Centre. The team car beeping the horn as they make their way up the hill. Some people love that kind of motivation. Others, like Ivan Romeo, are like, please be quiet. I don't want any more horn blasting and talking on the radio. I just need to concentrate. Some sports directors get a bit carried away, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like we've said in many different aspects of this sport of cycling, it's so individual, and it's difficult when you put them together into a team, because one rider might like a lot of information and constant communication from their team director in the race car behind, in the race radio. Oh, Belgium are in trouble here with the men. Well,
Florian Vermeers goes.
That's a little bit of a surprise to me so early, because, I mean, they do only have to finish with 2 until their women go off for the second lap.
But that's very early, isn't it? Florian Vermeers, the tallest rider in this group, but he is a rider who's been riding alongside Tadej Pogacar. We know he's got power. We know he's very, very good on the flat. And I wonder whether this might be a mistake for Belgium this afternoon here, Rochelle, to lose Vermeers so early.
Well, they've got experience, so I'm not sure if it would be a mistake. They've got communication with their team director. They've obviously just decided, look, if it's not your day, you don't have the power, we got to go. We have to go.
Campenaerts is nailed, isn't he? Look at the way he's going. He's absolutely rock solid on that bike. He looks very, very good indeed. Well, Florian Vermeers has gone. He's already miles behind, and he kind of gave a wave of the hand. Oh, off you go.
Well, look, you could have said, I think yesterday, before they lost one of their strongest women to an accident she had last night with the altitude and everything, and she fainted and she knocked her head and had to have stitches, wasn't able to start today. Hopefully she'll be okay for the road race. But they've decided they're just in this race to gain experience and take home some UCI points. But as of yesterday, I would have said they were an outside medal chance.
Yeah.
Now I'd say they might be 4th, 5th to 10th, but 4th, 5th, 6th. But gold, silver and bronze, I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah. Belgium have gone through 7.55 seconds down on Spain. This is the arrival now of the World Cycling Centre to the end of this lap of racing. Let's see how they do. Cross the line now, and the World Cycling Centre women get underway on the other side. Alalia Darwish, Fariba Hashmi and Yildiz Hashmi. Now the two Hashmi sisters are really strong. I fear a little bit for Alalia Darwish, because these two riders are incredibly quick.
I think being a part of the UCI World Cycling Centre has a massive advantage that you spend a lot of time together. So I think they would have had more time than most teams to discuss how we're going to execute this ride and what are we going to do with our weakest rider. So yes, I think that's a huge advantage to be a part of the UCI World Cycling Centre's team. Just being in, living together and being together every single day, I think makes a huge difference for a team event.
We look at the Spanish team. They've got 3 riders together, which means you get an additional amount of rest. Compared to Belgium now, we've only got 2 riders. Got to continue, go through and off. These 3 riders, you can sit on the back and have a little bit of a rest, which means that things, in terms of effort, you can get more effort out before the end. You can go quicker. They're riding well so far. Spain are the fastest team at the first intermediate split, 7.5 seconds over Belgium, with China at 56.60. This is our intermediate point number 2. They've gone through now 1 minute 25 seconds faster than China. That's impressive.
Yeah, for the first time check, they're on a mission, but quite expected, I think. Very experienced Spanish riders here.
My question is whether their women are going to be matching the women in the other squads, and I'm not so sure they are. But you never know. Paula Blasi is a great rider. Benito's a good rider. Osterladser's good. But have they got the time trial speed that we need them to have in order to give Spain a medal chance?
Agavi Marcia might have been a good addition.
Yeah. I saw her this morning training and thought, do you know what, actually, this course is good for Mavi Garcia.
She's a powerful rider. She's strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe, like I said, some teams are lining up here for a medal. They're lining up with a huge ambition for a medal, and there are other teams that are just giving opportunity for the developing riders in their nation to experience. And maybe it's an event that a discipline that they will focus on in the future. But each of these teams have different ambitions here today. Belgium in a little bit of trouble here now.
Campenaerts just trying to stay in the wheels. This is the Belgian squads that we were talking about. Marieke Mertz, Tess Merman and Julie van der Velde. Keeping those ice jackets on.
I must say, when I just ducked out for the loo, Anthony, it is extremely warm out there. So even though the temperatures are only reading around 30 degrees, it feels super. It's a different feeling here in Rwanda.
It is.
An absolute different feeling. So it's, yeah, and we had a little bit of rain earlier, but now the sun is shining and just the heat off the sun is really strong.
Mauritius are about to go, featuring Kim LaCour, the rider who wore the yellow jersey of the Tour de France Femme, won a stage of the Tour de France Femme this year. She is about to go. Kim LaCour with her teammates Lucie de Marigny-Lagesse and Aurélie Halboix. Those three riders are about to go. Kim LaCour of the team of AG Insurance Soudal. The Mauritian team across the line now. It's time to get underway. Mauritius are the 5th fastest time so far at the handover point. Spain are currently the fastest team on the course. And Spain now have lost a rider. So they've lost Alvarez. Hector Alvarez is gone, the rider who rides for the Little Trek Future team. And it's Ivan Romeo and Raul Garcia who are powering their way to the top. This looks like it's extremely hard. Romeo just desperately trying to stay there. Head right down, focusing on the back wheel. This is the moment where he said, I've had enough now. Hector Alvarez, I can't do any more. It's over to you two. He's only 18 years of age, this rider.
Yeah, and I think that would have been spoken about in depth before, and it actually allows these two riders to now start putting out more power. They're not protecting their third rider, so they're, you know, they have to look after each other. Obviously, they need to get the two riders together to the finish, but it looked to me like that was planned. You know, yep, okay, off we go. Bit of communication there between the two riders. Just stay behind me, I'll take this.
Yeah, that's good that they are communicated in that way. This is the Belgian men out on the course. The update is at the first split they were 7.55 seconds down. We're waiting for them to arrive here at the second split. We'll see where they are now, having lost that rider. So this is the second intermediate. They go through 20 seconds down. So they're shipping time now to Spain. They've lost about another 13 seconds on that second phase of that time trial. This is the situation at the second split. Spain, Belgium, People's Republic of China are the top three. In our third phase will be the teams that we've been talking about who are the likely medalists. Switzerland, France, followed by the team of Italy, then Germany, then Australia are the last team to go, being the defending champions. Have you got any insight as to what the Australian team think about this afternoon?
They would like to win the gold medal.
Yeah, always. Aussies don't ride for any other reason, do they?
They have so much experience together. They spend a lot of time together in training camps and stuff like that. It's a very experienced team of riders. So one of the young women is a very young, talented, emerging rider. But other than that, they have 5 of their riders that are just super, super experienced. I think they want to hold on. They won that gold medal in this discipline last year in the mixed team time trial relay. So they really do. I mean, their ambition is gold. I think they'd be disappointed with anything less. However, the general public has outright named France as the favourite for the gold medal.
Absolutely. Ukraine about to go then. Yulia Burikova, Yelizaveta Holod and Olna Kulinch. These are underway then. Ukraine gets going. Ukraine third fastest, 1 minute behind China. So Ukraine have got their team out on the course now. Switzerland will go at 3:38 in the afternoon. It's now 3:21. Here's the arrival of Spain. They're still riding really well. They look good. It's been a well-drilled, well-orchestrated ride by the Spanish this afternoon. As we see the team of Spain and the women are about to go. Benito, Blasi and Ostalarza. They're about to go. Spanish team going to come up and be the fastest squad so far with a time that's going to be 2 minutes faster than China. Spain are underway now in the women's side. That's an impressive ride by Spain, isn't it? 2 minutes and 3 seconds faster.
Yeah, absolutely. Spain having a lot more, I think, a lot more experience at world level. You can see when they rolled off, you mentioned it, Anthony, that was the first team we saw that was just really professionally equipped, and they got in formation so quickly that we knew, okay, they're probably going to set the fastest time out there. China, there they are in that hot seat we spoke about, where they get to sit until their time is beaten.
They're enjoying themselves this afternoon on the big sofas. It's an important moment for a team like that, to feel like all that hard work's paid off. They're in the hot seats. They know pretty much that at some point their time will get beaten.
Yeah, absolutely. The longer they sit there, the longer they have those emotions of we're sitting in a winning position at a world championship, which is just absolutely amazing. I think the hot seat that we have at the World Championships in cycling, I don't know if they have it in a lot of other sports where your time can be beaten by other people in timed events, but it's a great concept to be able to sit there and take in the emotions of, okay, we've had 5 or 6 teams finish and we are the best of those so far until the next wave comes in.
Also here in Rwanda, the fans like to sit and watch the hot seat, which I've noticed.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? They're staring at the athletes and just observing their communication and their emotions, and they'll see that hot seat change a lot when we get into the final wave of riders coming across the finish line. So the Spanish men now, they're just discussing how our women are out on the course now.
And here they are. Spanish women together. Benito, Blasi and Ostalarza. It's a useful group, and if they can ride well together and be well drilled, you just don't know what might happen this afternoon.
Well, that's what team time trialling is all about, being well drilled, being aware of your teammates, their condition, their ability, their capabilities. And you just saw there all the language is body language, a tip of the head, okay, I need to get on the back and have a rest. Oh, very well back on the wheel there.
And you look at these riders and they all ride for pro teams. When you just pick out the helmets they're wearing, and they've got their sponsors on the side, as Belgium now make their way into that last kilometre with Campenaerts and Vervenne. Those are the 2 riders from Belgium who are left. Don't forget to follow at UCI_cycling. UCI.org is where all the information about these championships is being posted. Keep an eye on the social media at UCI_cycling. It's very entertaining, actually, some of it. Looking here at down on the Belgians, I was smiling this morning because someone had created a video we saw yesterday. Tadej Pogačar, of course, was caught by Remco Evenepoel in that time trial, and someone's created a video using different footage of that and moments with Remco, where Remco is saying, I knew it was Tadej's birthday and I just wanted to deliver a cake to him, but it took me a long, long time to catch him.
It's one of the other aspects of cycling that I love, is that they're so competitive on the bike, but the camaraderie is really, it's really special. I mean, I've been involved in a lot of other sports where you know, your nations are separated. But because we have trade teams and then we have national events as well, there's just so much camaraderie and respect for all of the athletes. They might change teams, but the friendships that they build, the relationships they build throughout the peloton is something really special.
Belgium arrive. And the Belgian women is about to go. Second fastest time for Belgium. 23.54 seconds down, having lost Florian Vermeers. Now the Belgian women get going. This change team, Marika Mert, Tess Moorman, Julie van der Velde. And they're going to get into their rhythm now and keep the tempo nice and high. Here's Spain. The Spanish women look like they have really, really worked at this discipline. It looks like they've ridden together a fair amount.
Absolutely. They've had a superb ride to this point. See, without any mishaps, no doubt they're going to take that hot seat from China and sit themselves in the gold medal winning position, and they'll be looking at the time scoring board, see how long they can stay there for.
So at the finish, so far, it's China, from Ethiopia, from Rwanda, from Uganda, from Benin. But we know that the Spanish men are going well. Hector Alvarez has just arrived at the finish. He did a big amount of work out there for that squad. Team time trialing for me is always kind of a mesmerising sport. The way that you see the formations all in the same kits. The fraction between a mistake and going flat out is so tight. But when it looks good like this, it looks fantastic. When they're just so well drilled, so following each other closely, changing really, really well. So recovery time.
No.
Well, for the men in this mixed team time trial relay, they go out first and they do a lap, and then they have to wait and see how their women finish off. 3 women from the Belgium team.
And here's our leaders. These 6 are going to be very famous in Kigali tonight. They're going to be on television all day. We're seeing the teams, we're very close now to, we're about 10 minutes from the start of the final phase. You've talked about how intense the heat is, how warm it is out there. Some of these teams now, we've seen them in the ice jackets, which seems to be a contradiction when we've said the teams are having to warm up, but yet they've got ice jackets on. That doesn't seem quite right in terms of why would you have an ice jacket on if you're trying to warm the body up?
They're trying to warm their muscles up and activate their muscles, but at the same time, between the end of their warm-up and the start, they really want to reduce their core temperature, so their body's not using energy, burning energy just because it's hot. So they try to cool it, calm the body down, slow the heart rate down, and just save energy for that rolling off the ramp and the start. So yeah, it does sound like a little bit of a contradiction, but they do want to
reserve all the energy they can by having a cooler body temperature.
And we see them warming up here. Perfect time in there with the French riders. Cédrine Cabal, a stage winner in the Tour de France femme there in the middle. Juliette Labousse alongside her. And Mavis Squiban is also there, who was one of the revelations of the Tour de France femme this year, of course, with her stage wins. And this is where the bikes get checked. And this is an important aspect of what the helpers and the teams have to do each day, isn't it?
It's a huge part of time trialling is the position of the bike and the legalities that the UCI set for safety reasons. You have to be within limits, a distance from the tip of the saddle out to the tip of the aerodynamic bars. Obviously, if you're really long, you don't have control over your bike, so they set a restriction of how long that can be, and also how far your saddle can be behind the bottom bracket. But all of these restrictions they put on the bike, and a minimum bike weight and things like that, it's all for safety reasons. It does frustrate a lot of people in the world of cycling, because they want technology to go forward, and it's being restricted for safety reasons, and it's super frustrating for a lot of people. But obviously safety first. And we're talking about the ice vest here, super hot, trying to keep core temperature low. They also always use their electrolytes in a slushy format, in an crushed ice format. They've always got ice down the chest or down the back as well, just trying to keep the body temperature low, conserve some of that energy. So the science that goes into time trialing is just unbelievable.
Yeah. It's the campaign against Genocide Museum with this incredible sculpture. Which I think really collects the atrocities of, 1994. It's the team of Switzerland getting themselves ready. A lot of concentration. Stefan Kung. Switzerland are twice the gold medalists. 3 of their team having won medals before this time. This is Bruno Amirai. He's won a medal here before. The team have won a silver medal, the French team. Amirai just getting ready. 3 members of the team have taken medals before. Bruno Amirai, Cédrine Cabal and Juliette Labousse. The last moments of preparation for all of these riders, knowing that in a few minutes they are going to be flat out trying to help each other to take the victory. Jan Christen is the rider on the far side. Mauro Schmidt is the rider in the middle. Stefan Kung nearest the camera. Moving teams next year, so he will no longer be on that Villiers bike. Moving to the team of Tudor Procycling, the team of Fabien Cancellara. Cancellara setting that squad up, and now with a growing squad, having ridden the Tour de France now. And it will be interesting to see how Stefan Kung does in a Swiss environment as a Swiss rider. Whether it makes him an even better bike rider than he is already. The French team are making their way to the start. You mentioned that everyone is saying that France are the favourites this afternoon.
Yeah, it is interesting to me, just looking at the names of the Australians and the Swiss team, that they have been labelled as the absolute clear favourites, France. Maybe they've spent a lot of time really on this discipline. They really want that gold medal, and they have really invested their time and efforts into taking this gold medal. But they certainly, in my opinion, won't have an easy task.
No. Mauritius have just gone through the second lap intermediate split at the beginning. Mauritius go through 1:47.28 down on China. Just a few minutes until Switzerland get underway. The most successful team in this discipline, Switzerland. Twice the gold medalists. Kung, Schmidt and Reusser have won those gold medals before. So can they produce the goods yet again? Kung goes through the picture. Jan Christen ready. Today, some of these riders, or most of these riders, we saw on the reconnaissance, didn't we, of the road race?
Yeah, this morning.
Yes.
Yes, so the roads were closed off, so the riders would have an opportunity to see the road circuit this morning. But even riders that are racing this afternoon took that opportunity to get out there and have a look at the road circuit. So yeah, it was a very, very busy road circuit this morning, with riders just analysing every little part of the road. And as we mentioned earlier in the program, Anna van der Breggen had a motorbike out there, taking her to super high speeds on the descents. So not just looking at the course, but experiencing it at race pace.
These riders look ready. Bearing in mind, it's quite a long time until these riders actually ride, but the warm-up is quite intense.
Yeah, they
Ukraine arriving. Let's just see them through this split. Ukraine are now the fastest team on the course.
Yeah, they're in a little bit of trouble, but China are sitting in the hot seat, waiting for these two riders to cross the line. There's only 11 seconds between them at this point. It'll be a nerve-wracking situation for the Chinese. They'll want to stay in that hot seat, and they've just seen the two riders split up, which means that they're in a little bit of trouble. So they are ahead, but the Chinese riders will be keeping their fingers crossed that they have a little bit extra time in that hot seat.
This is the Italian team. The Italian men are also in the next group of riders. Here's the arrival of Spain. Wow. The Spanish team are flying this afternoon. Intermediate 1 on lap 2, and the Spanish women are going to go through with a great time. 3 minutes and 10 seconds faster than the Ukrainian women's squad to that point. That's a significant move.
It's huge, but as you said, Anthony, when they rolled off the start line, here's the first team that looks to me like they're really professional and dialed in, experienced, and now we get a glimpse of the Australian team getting ready, defending champions. As we said, they might be a little bit disappointed with anything but gold here today as we go back to the start ramp.
This is the start of Switzerland. They won in 2022 and 2023. Mauro Schmidt and Stefan Kung have been two of the medalists. Marlin Reusser, the only woman in the team who is retained from those two gold medal wins. The start of Switzerland. They get going. Stefan Kung is the rider who leads. Tries to get these riders up to speed as quickly as possible. Well, Spain might have been the first one, but Switzerland are certainly well drilled off the start, aren't they?
Absolutely. I think they're a definite medal chance, Switzerland. We've got France, Australia, Switzerland, and then Italy and Germany, outside chances. I mean, we've mentioned it a couple of times, but the challenges here in Rwanda can bring us some big surprises. There are just so many different aspects with the altitude, the climate, the travel, all this type of stuff, opposed to a general world championship held in Europe. It's bringing a lot of challenges to the riders on one of the most difficult circuits they've ever had to race a world championship on.
Yeah.
Well, they look good, Switzerland.
They do look good, don't they? When we say they look good, what do we really mean? If you're a new fan watching this and we think, well, I can tell that they're riding a bike, but how do we know that they're good?
Because their ability and capabilities, power outputs, seem at this point to be very compatible, and that their turns are very consistent. They've got the equipment, no doubt. You look at them, they've been in the wind tunnel, they've got all the optimal aerodynamics that they can possibly have. But if we talk about why do we think they look good today, at this point, which is very, very early in the race, we must say, anything can happen, they look like they are very in tune with each other.
Yeah, and they're following so close, aren't they?
Yeah, they wouldn't have 1 to 2 centimetres between when they're on the wheel, out of the wind, getting in the slipstream. Best of the best. I mean, sometimes they touch tyres.
Do they? And don't fall?
Don't fall, no. Just feel a little bit of a bump and a rub. But they do. They sit a couple of centimetres, 1 to 2 centimetres. If you watch a team pursuit on the track, they're, I mean, even closer. You can barely slip a piece of paper between them. But on the road, you have to give a couple of centimetres because of the road surface, obviously. This team from Switzerland, they use their equipment to the maximum. As we mentioned before, everything dialed in.
This is the team of France. This is a useful group here. This is the 3 riders who will represent France this afternoon. Bruno Amirai, Paul Sexas, under 23 world champion, sorry, junior world champion, and Pavel Sivakov there on the right-hand side. This is a very, very strong group of riders. They go sprinting away. Sexas was disappointed with his time trial the other day. Posted on his social media that he prepared specifically to do well, and it just didn't happen. So he was extremely disappointed, pretty unhappy with the way that he dealt with his individual time trial at the weekend. So Amirai, Sexas, Sivakov now into position. Amirai, multiple national time trial champion of France, wears number 31. 32 is Sexas, rides for Decathlon des Ailes Mondial. On the back is Pavel Sivakov, a teammate of Tadej Pogačar on the road. The Belgian women are arriving at intermediate 1. Spain have gone through there in 41 minutes 0071, and Belgium are going to go through with a time that's going to be nearly a minute down to this point. They've lost a lot of time to that Spanish team, because at the convention centre the gap was only 23.5 seconds.
And I wonder how different that would have been if they hadn't have lost a rider overnight in the women. The strongest woman that they would have had out there today in Marta Gusens. She unfortunately fell last night and hit her head and had to have stitches, but she would have made a big difference, I think, for the Belgium team. But they had to change their mindset to let's just get out there for experience and see what we can do.
Well, warm up, music in the zone. So riders have specific playlists that they use for specific races, specific environments. We're back with the Swiss team. They'll be hoping for a gold medal. Definitely a medal chance.
Well, if they do, it'll be a hat-trick of victories in a mixed team relay.
Always gives even if they're not all the same riders, it does give them confidence that we have dominated this with 2 gold medals in the past. So, yeah, back to the Italian women.
They've chosen to warm up outside, albeit under the palm trees, and I wonder whether that's because there is a bit of a breeze. They've got the big fans down there, but actually, when I was standing on this road, and Rochelle and I commentated in that kind of glass building you can see in the background, but when I was standing on the road earlier, the wind was blowing down that hill. I wonder whether that's what they've decided to do, is to position themselves so the wind is kind of in their faces, cooling them down a little bit. It's a hot wind, but it does give you a bit of respite. Italy then with Matteo Cattaneo, Marco Frigo, Matteo Sobrero. Italy are successful. They've won medals on 3 occasions, 2 bronze, 1 silver. Bit of a change of the team this time. 3 of the team riders overall have got medals, Cattaneo, Sobrero and Paladin. But this time they don't have the likes of Elisa Longo-Borghini, who's pretty much always ridden the mixed relay team time trial. She's won silver in 2022, bronze last year. She's always been part of it, bronze in 2021. But she only arrived here in Rwanda, I think, yesterday, Elisa Longo-Borghini.
Yeah, she'll be a huge contender in the road race, but as we've mentioned, it's such a challenging environment here in Rwanda. I wonder if flying in so late for the event could be a disadvantage. It's very hard to adapt to the climate here. I think a lot of athletes have underestimated the altitude.
Primoz Roglic is flying in on Friday.
In my opinion, there's 2 tactics. You come in really early or you come in very last minute. So we'll see.
We'll see who pays off.
Not great for the Italian team. They don't have the strength of Elisa Longo-Borghini today, but she'll be focusing on the women's road race on Saturday. You can see here the radio in the stomach, and the earpiece you can see as well. That's radio communication between the riders and the director. The riders won't use it too much because that means they will increase their frontal surface area if they move. So they don't want to move, but they are getting instructions from the team vehicle behind them, which means they can stay in their aero position and don't need to put their head up too much, because the director will say road turning left, road turning right, move a little bit this way, that way, or your teammate behind you struggling. So there's a lot of advantages having that communication with the team director in the team car behind. But this is a first ever at the World Championships where the team car is equipped with a GPS device that is giving all information of wind, elevation of the road, temperature, every single thing at every single point of the race that is relayed to the UCI's central control centre.
Yeah.
So the UCI has also all of that data for safety reasons. They can also see if a rider's been dropped or has left the course or all of that kind of thing. So it's a huge development in technology and science for team time trialling, any time trialling event.
That's good to know they've got all of that information in these cars.
Australian men just wishing each other good luck.
They're getting ready. The German team are the penultimate team to go. It's the team Miguel Heidemann, Louis Riedart and Jonas Rutsch about to go. And the start of Germany. Here's the arrival of the World Cycling Centre to the finish. They're outside the time of People's Republic of China. They're almost at the conclusion of this time trial, the World Cycling Centre. A little bit ragged. But the World Cycling Centre finish now with the 4th fastest time. They slot in behind Rwanda and Ethiopia with China in the lead.
I have a feeling they would have liked to cross the line and move into the hot seat because it's a bit of a shake of the head and disappointment.
Place at the moment
but
for this wonderful
can't always go perfect on the day, you know, especially in a team event where you have 6 riders that need to be on their best on the same day.
But China is still there.
Yeah, they'll be very, very happy to spend a lot of time now that we've had 6 teams cross the line and they are still in the hot seat. So 6 teams out of 15 on the start list. A very interesting thing about today's team time trial is that there's 15 teams in the mixed relay starting, and they will all gain UCI points. So even if they finish 15th, there will be 10 points awarded that will be divided between the 6 riders, but the nation will take the 10 UCI points. So it's a big opportunity for nations to gain UCI points, and the reason they want to gain those UCI points is so they can have more numbers of riders at the next World Championships.
Very important then that every single second counts out here on the road. Switzerland are riding extremely well. Look at them.
Yeah, they do mean business.
They do.
They're a medal chance. Are they a gold medal chance? That's the big question. So I think personally out of the top 3 teams I've labelled, so we've got France, Australia and Switzerland, it'll be about how much time they've spent together, how much time they've had here on the course, they know the course, how well they know each other. Just, it's such a team event. So it doesn't matter how one individual is coping with the climate or what the condition and their health is. It's all about compatibility with your teammates and how much time you spent together.
Here's the start of the final team. This is Australia. Michael Matthews, Luke Plapp and Jay Vine. Jay Vine clearly on form, medalist in the elite time trial the other day, second on the stage of the Vuelta in the time trial. Luke Plapp, a stage winner at Giro d'Italia this year. And lovely to see Michael Matthews back and racing. He's about to get underway in the World Championships for his home nation. These 3 riders roll away. Michael Matthews, of course, incredibly was discovered in 2025 this year in the summer as he was getting ready for the Tour de France. A pulmonary embolism which was life-threatening, and he says he's grateful to be alive. Well, he's here in the World Championships now. He had to have... after that discovery, because he said, I was thinking that as we just see Switzerland coming up to this first split, it's going to be interesting against Spain how Switzerland are, and it's going to be really, really close. 6.9 seconds between those squads. So Switzerland now the fastest team on the course. But Michael Matthews was saying that he just wasn't feeling good on some of his efforts. And eventually the doctor checked everything, and they found this embolism, and they basically said if he hadn't had it discovered, then a couple of days later he would be dead.
It's an interesting thing I just thought about as you were speaking, Anthony, is that a fortunate thing that athletes have is that they are pushing their bodies to extremes very often, which means they are medically tested a lot. So rather than a general person that doesn't go to the doctor so often or thinks maybe I just have the flu or whatever, being an athlete, you have a team of doctors around you that are always testing to make sure you're at your optimal performance. So
Mauritius finish, 4th fastest, Rochelle, 4th fastest for Mauritius. Yeah, you're right. And as Mauritius crossed the line there, he's lucky that he had all of that around him.
yeah, absolutely, because sometimes these things can just go undetected until it's too late, and very fortunate for Michael Matthews.
Great to see him back in racing, though. But here's the story of the day so far, because Spain's women are approaching the line. They've caught Ukraine in front of them, and they're about to put themselves into the hot seat. The question is whether they're going to surprise everybody and get themselves a medal this afternoon, because this is a fantastic performance by the Spanish team combined, men and women. The Spanish team gave them, at the end of the relay, they gave them what? 2 minutes and 3 seconds on the Chinese squad, and here at the finish they're going to have doubled it, or more than doubled it. That's an impressive performance from Spain.
The Spanish women there coming into the finish look so professional. You could see that they had their hands together, which is decreasing the frontal surface area. That tells me they've been in the wind tunnel. They've been training together. They have put a lot of effort into this World Championship mixed team relay. So, yeah, I think a medal from Spain's going to be, well, that time that they've just posted might make a few of the other teams a little bit nervous.
Well, I think it might do, because that's an impressive performance from Spain.
The other thing is taking the World Championship here seriously. A lot of these athletes at the top end elite level, they've been in heat chambers, climate change chambers with altitude for 6 weeks, around 6 weeks prior to coming to Rwanda, just to be, acclimatized. So then they only have fewer aspects of the traveling, the jet lag and the air quality, things like that to adapt to, rather than the altitude and the heat. They've already spent 5 weeks. We've got trouble here with the...
France are just getting into their rhythm as they go downhill. France are now the fastest team on the course, though. They've gone through that first split with a time that's 9 seconds faster than Switzerland and 15 seconds faster than the team of Spain. So this French squad is really moving now. They look good.
Well, the French men have completed their lap, and they're sitting there hoping that the women can bring it home for them. And I just wonder, like...
Well, they're just discussing what goes on here.
Cuando estéis recuperadas, coger las bicis y bajaros, que están los chicos allí.
I'm wondering how much that Alejandro Valverde is now the new Spanish road cycling coach for the men. But I'm wondering how much impact he might be having across the board.
Oh, huge impact. If you have a rider like that with that much experience.
Yeah.
As a head of a, even if it's just the men's discipline, it's obviously has time to educate the women as well, just give them that little bit of motivation and experience and knowledge and, words, just a few words for an athlete can go a very long way.
But also, because he was such a winner, he's going to put into that squad, we're here to win. We're not here to mess around, we're here to win medals. And that gives them a lot of belief. Well, the Italian team are in disarray as they make their way uphill. They've already lost a rider, and that's a surprise. Sobrero has been dropped. Now, Sobrero's won a stage of the Giro d'Italia in an individual time trial. This guy is no slouch when it comes to a time trial, but he's obviously having an absolutely horrible day. You can see how much this is hurting.
He's not happy and he doesn't want to give up. There's not much chance of him getting back on because it's not a great day. They've decided that we're going to leave him now, and he's just fighting to get back on, which is very, very difficult. The Australian team out there now, very, very early in this mixed team relay. They look really dialed in.
They certainly do. They're looking very strong.
But as you said, the first time check, France went through the fastest, and they have been labelled the outright favourites for today, so they haven't disappointed at the first time check with the men. They'll still have the women to do their lap afterwards. We now look at the Italian riders out on the course, Switzerland. They're still looking really good as well. So we know that they're a medal chance. They have 2 gold medals in this discipline in previous years, and today they're looking really, really good. So 3 of them still together. Early stages of this race, they still have the 3 women from Switzerland. You can see that their compatibility at this point, before the fatigue really sets in, is very, very professional. Very short turns. They've all got the maximum sock height, so there has been penalties given out for... it's an interesting rule if you're new to cycling about the length of the socks. They have to be midway between the knee and the ankle. They can't be any higher than that point, and some of the riders pull them up after they have them checked, and then they receive a penalty. The reason for that rule, so we just go back to the Belgian women now coming in as
on the last 200 meters.
A very, very tough final 200 metres. You can see the pain on the face there.
Look in the faces, they fight. Everyone is a winner. Everyone is giving just what is possible.
Spanish women, they were super fast. I don't think the Belgian women are going to bring it home to be in that ballpark, but as we said, they lost their strongest rider last night. Let's hope she's okay for Saturday's women's road race. Wilsons, she finished 21st in the individual time trial, but unfortunately due to the altitude she fell last night. She hit her head and had stitches, so wasn't able to compete today. But this effort here, I mean, a professional position on the front there, just protecting her second rider, no doubt has a lot more power in the legs, but needs to ensure that she gets the second rider across the line. A few troubles there. 2 minutes and 24 seconds down on Spain. However, that will put them into second place at the moment. I mentioned the aerodynamic aspect of this sport, the crossed hands at the front and having the head close to the handlebars. Oh dear. So we said Switzerland were a medal chance. It looks like they've lost one of their male riders. So quite close to the finish, so not too bad. A lot of riders will have that strategy, that when they get to that cobbles section, 2 or 3 kilometres from the finish, they'll drop down to 2 riders. We switch back to the French team. The outright favourites labelled for today from the general public. Men have to complete 1 lap, and they'll pass it over to their 3 women. So intermediate split for the men from Germany. They are 28 seconds down with an average speed of 41.6 kilometres to that point. The crowd have been out there since 9 o'clock this morning, watching the riders training on the course, and now watching the racing. The fan zone is absolutely completely packed. Well, on paper, these 3 men are so experienced. I think we'll see a great time posted by them. They are the reigning champions in this discipline. We just look at the aerodynamics there and the materials they use in the skin suits. Spoke about the sock height. some of the riders to spend more time on the front to reduce their frontal surface area and the wind drag. They even go to the extent of not having a dial boa clip on the edge of their shoe, and they use shoelaces instead. So the boa clip on the edge of the shoe doesn't catch the wind. It's such a technical aspect, aerodynamics of the time trial. So the Swiss are down to 2. The men are bringing it home in the last couple of kilometres until they pass over to the women. And the 3 minutes 29 seconds at the last time check behind France, who are the favourites for today. And the Australian women are waiting for the men to complete their lap. Amanda Spratt on the left, a veteran of women's cycling, so experienced. It's the end of the day for one of the riders of France, but they would have planned that they finish off with 2 riders. They only need 2 men to cross the line before they send the women off. Well, it's interesting that little gap was lost between the wheels there of the Australian team. Just makes it every little second's going to count on this circuit. The Italian men also down to 2 riders. The French men also down to 2 riders. The Australians, they have 3.
Do you think this is tactical, or it's to do with just the fatigue of the riders, how they've decided to end up with 2 riders like this?
Talking about the Italian team, particularly on our screen right now, I think they would have liked to have 3 men stay together a little bit longer than this. So unfortunately, they've lost 1 man early.
Here's the arrival, though, of the team of Switzerland as they fly their way towards...
Longer than this. So unfortunately, they've lost 1 man early.
Here's the arrival, though, of the team of Switzerland as they fly their way towards the end point for the men. They are absolutely zooming. They are happy. End point for the men. They are absolutely zooming. They are happy with this performance. They come up. The fastest time to here is Spain, 25 minutes 50.93. So they're still in the ballpark, Spain. 27 seconds faster, the team of Switzerland, as the Swiss women get underway now. Swiss women, Jasmin Lehti, Marlon Reusser, the new world time trial champion, and Naomi Rugg. This is a very good team, but for me the difficulty here is that Reusser is so quick.
I think we're going to see Reusser on the front for the entire time trial.
Do you?
There may be a little quick short turn just to give her a little bit of reprieve, but she won the individual time trial here at the World Championships. She's the strongest woman in the world in the peloton.
Yeah.
So if she just goes out and does her strongest 21 kilometres, it may be stronger. It may be more efficient than changing riders.
A little bit like this, where Bruno Amirai is dragging Paul Sextus to the top of this mountain. Sextus is not... He's not finding this course to his liking. He's still there. He didn't like the time trial the other day. He is absolutely hanging on. Bear in mind, Paul Sextus has got his birthday today, and what is he, 19 today or something? He's an incredible bike rider. He's had a great season, but he's still a young guy. And Amirai is so powerful. We've seen him in the Grand Tours this year, and you can see that little gap opening up between them. Amirai is going to make Paul Sextus suffer. He finally manages to go through there at the top of that climb. Italy now heading towards the top of the climb as well, with Catano and Frigo. These guys look pretty rapid, having lost.
Yeah, and that's why I say maybe the team tactic might have been to keep 3 together for a little bit longer, but they're in the cobbled climb now, so they've got less than 2 kilometres to go. And I think a lot of the stronger teams will have the tactic of let's use a rider up until then, and then we just go for it with everything.
Australia are the fastest team split, so when we